everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Glevina and I am your host for today. Education and learning have undergone massive changes in pedagogy, especially since the pandemic. There is an increasing relevance of anytime, anywhere, lifelong learning on digital platforms. Considering that legacy learning is now being fast augmented with digital learning and immersive experiences. The modern educational enterprise is not limited by geography anymore, but only by what we make of it. With this context, Cloud4C, AWS, and EdCIL are pleased to host this webinar on the topic Next Gen Cloud Solutions to inspire uninterrupted learning, transit and transform education on AWS Cloud. Let me now take this moment and introduce you all to our esteemed speakers. We have with us Mr. Pavan Kumar Sharma, Chief General Manager and HOD, DES EdCIL. Well, our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Pranav Mittal, Senior Partner Sales Manager, India Education from AWS.
Thank you.
We also have with us yet another eminent personality, Mr. Vikas Goel, Vice President from Cloud4C. Well, now, without any further ado, I hand it over to Mr. Pavan Kumar Sharma for his address.
Yeah, thank you, Galvina, and thank you for handing over the session to me. Good afternoon to my colleagues and the audience who is attending this session. And on the next generation cloud computing solutions in the education space. I am Chief General Manager from EdCIL, and we are doing this transformation initiative in the education sector for the last 4 years. So today is an important day where we have 3 organizations, Cloud4C, AWS and EdCIL, who have come together to enable the services on the cloud platforms. And that's the way we will be sharing it, our thought process, why this industry is moving towards that in a quick presentation now. So we know that the education space is quickly changing and transforming. And we'll see several solutions, whether it is from e-learning to the new user experience and immersive learning. That's what my colleague has shared that, and everything is moving towards the cloud. There is a phenomenal increase in the cloud solutions in the last 2 years. And that's what EdCIL has started offering in the space of the cloud solutions, and how we are offering these solutions and what are the various enablers to increase this cloud footprint are being shared in this slide. Next. So as we know, EdCIL is a mini Ratna, central public sector enterprise. It is completely 100% owned by Ministry of Education, which has been incorporated in 1981. We have provide consultancy solutions, advisory solutions in the education sector, not only in India and overseas altogether. Digital education department that we have is focused on high impact solutions, both EdTech service or whether it is advisory services. We give the solution to various universities. And we have been implementing them, some of the large central universities, whether Kurukshetra, and we have made them to come onto the cloud with various SaaS-based offerings on the cloud. That's about EdCIL. Next. So that's what we say that education, how is it transforming? As you know, that cloud power education market is phenomenally growing. It's growing almost at a CAGR rate of 25%. We'll see that e-learning market reaching around 325 billion by 2025. And to that, I mean, now we see that because of COVID pandemic, I mean, almost all the students were moved from offline classrooms to the online education. And this has transformed universities, education institutions to look for solutions on the cloud. So that's what the cloud computing has grown up in the last 3 years. Why? Because there is an increasing demand to consolidate systems to manage academic procedures, There's increased SaaS-based solutions and growing adaptation of e-learning market. That's what we see in the market. And the new solutions like virtual classrooms, which is a cloud-centric solutions where you can see this remote learning happening, and some of the large organizations, whether Byju's or Vedantus, are shifting and enabling these virtual classroom solutions, and they're bringing and connecting to the e-learning students in the last 2 years exponentially. I foresee in the future, I mean, the application of quantum computing will come in education, and with the 5G, you will have more users connecting onto online classrooms and online solutions. And this will enable us to move on to the cloud solution. The organizations or the institutions who are not adopting to the cloud solutions will face the challenge over a period of time, because the users or the learners are looking forward for these type of solutions from any universities or any institutions in the country. Now, these are benefits which comes with the cloud solutions. We say that if we have seen that why people move on to this, it immediately any constraint in your existing capacities, you'll see most of the institutions have their own data centers or own servers. But when it comes to the time when you have to announce the results, or it has to be during the examination, these capacities are constrained. So that's the reason the cloud solution provides us a very flexible approach where you can increase your capacities on the go and on demand basis. And that's what we say, that these benefits comes out of box in the cloud solution in the cloud space. The another advantage why we are saying that cloud solution will become very important, because you'll see the less downtime and high recovery times in case of any situation where you have a scalable need. Some of the other benefits, it's highly secure. That's what we see that, and with this, we'll have a predictable marketing monthly expenses coming out for the institution. So you know what is the total cost of ownership. That's what people ask, and in the cloud space, and same thing you can get it to know that in your cloud space. Moreover, if you see overall benefits over a period of time, you will see that an institution will have an immense cost benefit. If you see the overall, whether it is a operational benefit, whether it is like power benefit. So you will see, if you collectively say that, that's why we say that cloud brings the lower cost, total cost of ownership with improved uptime and reduce setup and maintenance time. So these are the key drivers why we should look forward for cloud space solutions. And that's why today we have brought both AWS and Cloud4C as our partners, who will be giving these type of services to the institutions along with EdCIL. Next. Okay, we also have this services, managed services, but the why EdCIL is the question, how we can, because we have an advisory and consultancy services. Most of the government institutions, they have a challenge because they have to go for a larger life cycle of, next slide, please go on to the next slide, larger life cycle of complete tendering process to get onto the cloud service procurement. Generally, the whole process takes 6 months. And EdCIL has shortened this window almost to 15 days process. Why? Because we have already have these partners in place through the open tendering process. And these partners can enable us to offer these cloud services to you immediately on your need basis, and the whole process for any institution can be completed in a very short duration of 15 days through EdCIL. When you say that from requirement gathering to enabling the services on the cloud to you. So that's the benefit that EdCIL brings onto your table along with our partners who are there in this webinar. And we will be a organization which can shorten your process, which I have shared in my, that is 6 months, and that whole thing which will be taken care by EdCIL and EdCIL's team, so that you focus onto the cloud services. You come onto the cloud as per the benefits that we have shared in the earlier slides, and we bring the various improvements for you. Next slide. So basically, EdCIL as an organization will bring you a process improvement, operational benefits, and pricing advantage. This is because how the process improvement, because we already have agreements with this tier 1 mighty and panel CSPs through an open tendering process. And that's our advisory services. That's what we have a strength, which comes and discuss with this your requirements, map the solution, and give you the on-demand cloud solutions immediately. The best part is that we shorten the time and we can deploy these services within 2 weeks time. So the whole process that a government institution or a university takes, we completely make it reduced to 2 weeks, and because of our own processes and through an open tendering process where our discounting mechanism of all the services which are available through the cloud service partners are already in place. The operational benefits. Now, once you are running the services, what happens? We have seen that most of the institutions are faced. They have to augment the capacity. And we have seen that most of the tenders which they don't have a flexibility to augment it on the go. So EdCIL brings that benefit because we have a flat discounting mechanism. So any institutions can add, delete, stop, and start services within 2 days once you inform us, and your billing will be for that duration. We will be managing and monitoring your services and optimizing your cost infrastructure on the go. So that's the operational benefit. So overall, if you take the EdCIL's consultancy services in this space of cloud solutions, you will have an overall commercial benefit, overall process benefit, and the prices advantages that you will get it because of our open tendering process in terms of economics of large volume that we can offer to you. We don't have any commitment, so any organization who wants to take our services can come without any commitment, and we can enable the services. We'll be sharing down the line that some of the benefits for the organizations who have come in this webinar, how we will be enabling the POCs free of cost, so that at least you have it, you understand the whole journey of cloud and what are the benefits. And that's the way EdCIL will be bringing it on the table for the institutions who are there. And that's the benefit. We'll have it with EdCIL as an organization from Ministry of Education through our partners like Cloud4C and AWS who are there. My colleagues down the line will be taking you through these various offerings and how they will be giving an advantage that I have explained in the other slides to make it a seamless journey in the cloud space so that institutions can move their applications or their existing capacities onto the cloud with EdCIL quickly, on demand basis, in a timely and effective manner. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Pawan, for sharing your insights and also for setting the context of the session. Now it's time for me to introduce you all to our next speaker. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Pranav Mittal, Senior Partner, Sales Manager, India Education from AWS. Over to you, Mr. Pranav.
Thanks, Clevina. I hope everyone can see me. Pawan sir, thank you so much for laying the foundation and allowing us to partner with you to provide cloud services and solutions, next generation solutions to various customers. And thank you, Cloud4C, for partnering with us on this journey. As Pawan sir rightly mentioned, they are offering cloud services to various customers, but I would definitely want to start with the very basics, as Pawan sir also covered in his presentation. How does AWS define what is cloud? Cloud for us is a very simple definition. We say that cloud computing is an on-demand delivery of any IT resource over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. And when I say pay-as-you-go pricing, I'm referring to whatever you use, you only pay for that. It's a very simple definition from AWS that we have, but often people do confuse as to what cloud computing is. So This is the definition for us. Moving to the next slide. These are okay. The next two slides, basically this one and the next one, basically cover some of the global statistics, that have been actually uh, shown by various analysts and various research organizations over the past 2 years. We've all gone through the pandemic situation, for better or worse. We are trying to come out of it. But how did pandemic actually affect the education vertical? How did pandemic affect the schools, the students, the teachers, parents, everyone? So this slide basically depicts that, what was the situation of schools closing down within while we were going through the pandemic during 2019, 2020, and 2021. We're still trying to recuperate and come back from this. But as you can see, India had almost like a countrywide global shutdown for everything, for schools, for jobs, for everyone. The next slide basically also highlights a few articles wherein, what had happened with India or across the world, wherein 1.5 billion students were out of school as of 8th of April, that is 2020. So as you can see, 1.5 billion students getting affected with nowhere to go. They had no mode to study, no mode in which they could actually connect with their teachers or other peers. That's a very big number. But while we are trying to come out of the whole COVID situation, what happened during COVID? How did universities or schools or colleges still try and maintain the way in which they can continue learning for students? That is where the whole situation of cloud came into picture, right? As Pawan sir rightly mentioned, there were multiple platforms, multiple ways in which the universities and colleges were reaching out to their students. But why did they adopt cloud? What made them adopt cloud? So as you can see, there are multiple benefits which are listed over here. One of the most important benefit is increased speed and agility. With cloud, you don't really need to wait for long in order to create a platform which will allow you to communicate with someone, which will allow you to deploy your learning situation. It is just a matter of few minutes that you can easily create your platform and start giving access to students. Second, most important benefit which I feel is that it is globally accessible. And when I say globally, I'm referring to students which are suppose your students are based out of multiple regions within India. Your university is based in north, you have students coming down from south, east, west, and northeast. So students can actually still continue learning because of the globally accessible platform that you have, which you built through cloud. Third most important thing is the scalability. You don't have to worry about the fact that if I have one student or 10,000 students who are going to access my platform, you can still keep your platform live without any downtime, irrespective of how many students are accessing it, irrespective of how many live video streamings are happening through it, through your platform. Cloud will be there to support you in the backend. And fourth most important point, in my opinion, is the cost factor. The fact that you only pay for the utilization that you are doing or the consumption that is happening from your platform is the best possible thing. What happened in traditional IT infrastructure was, once you have brought the IT infrastructure, you, even if you don't use it, it's still a cost for you. It's still a operating cost for you. The fact that with cloud, you can switch off the IT infrastructure when not in use and switch it on when people are trying to access it, saves you so much money. So these are some of the biggest benefits that you will see with cloud, and why universities were adopting it. Now we know that why universities were adopting it, but what were they doing with cloud? What was happening with the cloud infrastructure that they were procuring? First of all, they were trying to migrate most of their existing technologies to cloud. Any technology, be it like a learning management system, be it like a student lifecycle management, be it a campus management solution. Everyone was trying to migrate their existing IT solutions to cloud. Second biggest important thing that happened was people started creating new products and solutions on cloud. You see vast number of education technology organizations that were there in the market. They started increasing their capacity like crazy. We've seen the likes of Byju's, the consumption that Byju's did in the pandemic situation. The consumption, because most of the students started going to Byju's for their problem solving or any other kind of issues. We saw a lot of universities, schools, and colleges uh, going online with their learning management system. They started having online and live classes because teachers were there in the classroom, or even if their teachers were from their home, they had to continue with the lectures. So the students would actually sit at their home, go on the platforms, be it any platform. It can be like a Zoom, or it can be a Moodle based learning management system, or any other platform that you see. Students were consuming data, they were consuming content, they were consuming the learning that the teachers were giving. These were the most important things that the universities were doing or the colleges were doing while they were procuring cloud. I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, as the agenda for today's webinar states, that what are the various next gen solutions that a university or a college can take benefit from. There are multiple solutions that a university or a college can actually benefit from while they are utilizing cloud. It can be a remote desktop system. Remote desktop system or VDIs are basically quite a buzzword right now, because a lot of people want to access different types of desktop environments in order to do their practicals. As an example, suppose engineering student wants to access, mechanical engineering student wants to access MATLAB. So obviously the system that he has may not be able to support the software or the processing power that be required by MATLAB application. So what you can do is, as a university or as a college, you can create virtual environments for your students in order to give them access to that solution. Second important thing is the remote learning. As we've been talking about nowadays, it's like LMS is like a home. It's everybody knows what LMS is, right? Before pandemic, not many institutes or colleges were adopting learning management system, although we knew about it, but there was no adoption. During the pandemic, we saw increased like 10x 20x intake in the adoption of LMS. Third being remote communication and collaboration. You have multiple solutions available on cloud, which will help students and teachers to collaborate with each other on multiple projects. Another important aspect is, while cloud can also give you storage capability, the content that was being produced by the teachers, that was being recorded, was widely available for students to consume. And how that was made possible was through the cloud and content distribution network system that is available along with the cloud. So AWS has all the possibilities which you can think of in order to create a digital journey for your campus or institute. Moving to the next slide. Okay, these are some very, I mean, not some, I would say very limited number of logos that we have published for general public, which are basically AWS customers or are associated with AWS in some or the other way. So you can see we have the likes of Sharda University, Chitkara, we have the like of APJ Satya, everyone using AWS some or the other way. I'm I'm not saying that they are completely on AWS, but they are associated with AWS in some or the other way. Another thing was, you can see the likes of Byju's, you can see Extra Marks, you can see Unacademy, Metal. So these are the organizations who provide technology based solutions. to the customers, that is to you. So they are also using AWS because of the trust they have with AWS. They understand that AWS can provide the scalability, the technology, and the platform that is required to grow. Okay, this is a very proud moment for AWS actually. As you can see, this case study very recently got published just 2 days back on AWS. The CoWIN platform by Government of India is actually running on AWS. Although we did discuss about it in certain forums, but very recently this case study has been published. And as I was talking about scalability, you can see the fact that the solution that is running on AWS at one point of time during the peak time allowed 70,000 hits per second. You can imagine the scale that the solution was working on. We all know that 1.3 billion citizens, the target for India is to vaccinate 1.3 billion citizens. And during the peak time, we were able to scale the infrastructure and the application in such a way that 70,000 hits per second was also possible. And the entire infrastructure, or sorry, the application that is there, it's all modernized application, is because it is using microservices. When I say microservices, just for the knowledge of everyone, microservices is an architecture, different architecture, which allows services to be divided into individual concepts, into individual blocks, and then the blocks can be utilized for servicing the end user. We can go into details further if required, maybe later on. The next case study which I want to highlight is the APJ Satya University. We all know about the new national education policy that's coming up, right? So how are various universities getting ready to adopt NEP? So there are multiple solutions that are part, or multiple guidelines that are part of NEP. APJ Satya has taken a step forward, or rather multiple steps forward in that journey, wherein they have actually transformed their digital journey towards NEP on AWS. You can all go through the case studies. I can show you I'll share the link with you on multiple case studies. These are just two of them which I wanted to highlight because of the time, but there are so many case studies available in the market on AWS website. I'll share the link with you guys later if required. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so how does AWS actually look at education sector? This is basically what it means is that how AWS is currently segmenting education sector for internally. As you can see, India education for us is divided into two verticals. One is the EdTech, which is the education technology, and the second segment is the institute, universities, and the others. Now, EdTech basically consists of two types of segments for us, subsegments. One is the proper education technology organizations like Byju's and Academies, Vedantus. And then we have the coaching institutes like Allens of the world. Okay, so these are the part of education technology. The core focus area for us is the institute and others, which you guys can see over here, which consists of higher education, K-12, research and training, non-profit, any government education body. It can be CBSC, it can be ICSC, it can be AICTE, it can be any state board, and we also have publishers, multiple publishers. So this is the core focus area for us, where AWS is seeing phenomenal growth. And there are multiple studies, third party consultants who have published studies saying that 90% of the education technology industry is utilizing AWS some way or the other. And that is me being modest. It is more than 90%. But these are all third party case studies which have been published. You can Google about it. But the core focus area for us remains over here, and we would definitely want customers to benefit from the services that we are providing or our partners are providing. Okay. As coming to the main agenda, what are the various solutions in the market that a university can actually benefit from in today's situation? There are three categories that we've defined it under. One is the business continuity. See, a university at the end of the day cannot shut itself down during pandemic. They still have to educate students. Students need to learn, and how that process can continue is through the various solutions that have been developed or are running on AWS or hosted on AWS. What are the various categories of solutions, right? One is you need to conduct online classes. You need to conduct online examinations. There is a learning management system which allows students to uh, which allows students to consume your content. Then you have online admissions process. Then you have multiple solutions which allows students to actually access virtual labs. See, labs, practicals is a very important part of students' learning journey. So while the theoretical content can be consumed via learning management system, practicals is something which we have made possible through our vendors or solution providers, so that students can actually do their practicals. And I'm talking about uh, any sort of virtual lab you would require. There can be possibility wherein you have the content already, you just require the lab or the platform for the students to practice, or you want us to help you with the content also. So our vendors are available to provide any such support on those factors. And I think one of the biggest aspect now that is coming into picture is the ODL. A lot of universities have got license to provide online distance learning degree. So ODL is another important factor which is now becoming quite. Earlier it was a part of new solutions, but we've now moved it to business continuity, because we've seen a lot of institutes adopting it. Although it is still a new concept, there are multiple things that are still pending in terms of how the content will be delivered, how the degree will be delivered, and all that. But we have done all of this. Coming to new solutions, see, with new solutions, when we say it, basically refers to the fact that there are a lot of new buzzwords in the market, right? Uh, One is big data, another is AI/ML. So for a student to be ready for the world, once he or she is graduating from the university, for a student to be ready for the market, they need to have access to the latest technologies and have to have some sort of an experience in the market, right? Otherwise their uh, employability scale is a little lower as compared to people who are more hands on with the latest technologies. So AWS via its partners can provide you the access to the latest technologies like blockchain, AI/ML, big data, robotics. So everything is possible from on AWS cloud services. Another big thing is that a lot of research organizations are looking at ways in which they can actually keep continuing to research on the data that they have, the kind of analytics that they're trying to build. So AWS also provides high performance computing solutions to such universities so that they can still continue with the research. What happens is, see, whenever you procure a hardware, after 5 years the hardware becomes obsolete. So, in order for us to still continue to get access to the latest technology and have access to the high performance computing, it's very critical. So, what we say is that you reach out to our vendors like EdCIL and Cloud4C. They will help you with providing the right solution to your high HPC requirements. The last aspect is the skilling aspect, which is the most important aspect in our opinion. We need to skill the future generation of students on cloud computing. There are multiple reports which are published in the market that cloud computing is the thing. It is the biggest thing in the market right now. But the problem is students or people with the skills to handle cloud computing is very less. There are so many job openings in the cloud computing market, but there is no inflow of people to meet the requirement. Obviously, the faculty, it is more of a train the trainer concept. While we are trying to enable the students, but it is also important for us to enable the trainers themselves, because once we enable the trainers, they can uh, simply provide the same education to their students. We'll discuss some of the solutions in details also in next few slides. As I was mentioning, these are some of the building blocks which are not very relevant right now, but maybe you guys can see this. I think we can skip this slide also. I want to come to the use cases on cloud, which we were discussing in the blocks earlier. See, these are some of the use cases that we have seen are very prominent in the market, which the universities or colleges are actually using with AWS. First and most important one, as I told you, is the research or the HPC on cloud. For any PhD student, for any institute which is focused mostly on research, getting access to the latest technology in order to continue their research was very difficult. We have seen it firsthand, and we have had multiple use cases wherein the universities have come to AWS or their partners asking for us to help them provide the latest platform so that the students or faculties can still continue with their research. Second is migration of their existing workloads to the cloud. See, because nobody could physically be present at the data center in order to maintain the current infrastructure that they have. So a lot of universities and colleges, their IT departments, their deans, they started approaching partners on AWS directly in order to help them to migrate their existing technology to cloud so that the business continuity does not get affected. Cloud labs, as I rightly mentioned, learning management system. Another important aspect is website. See, the first thing that a university actually or a student gets connected with the university is through its website. Now with pandemic, all the admission process, everything started happening online. So how would a student get access to university? He would go online to the university's website and then see what happens. But what we had usually seen was, or some of the most common issue were, that if there was high traffic on the website for a university, or if there was a result or an outcome that was getting published, or if there was an admission notice or any new curricular activity or any curriculum that was getting published, there would be a lot of traffic on the website, and immediately within few minutes the website, it would either not function or the website would go down. And that is when a lot of issues started cropping up. But with cloud, we ensured that there was zero downtime for any university or college hosting their website on AWS. We ensured that not a single student or end user faced any challenges in accessing the website or content that was available through website. These are again the individual modules which we've discussed in the last slide. LMS is like now the secondary or alternate solution to physical classroom. People need LMS solutions in order to continue the learning for students. LMS, there are multiple LMSs available in the market. AWS can provide and support any and every LMS solution. You let us know your requirement. We will be happy to connect you with the right set of partners, the right people who can guide you, who can create the solution for you and take things forward. Same virtual cloud labs, as I mentioned earlier, anytime, anywhere, access to any project, any sort of lab or content that you require. Online classes, yes, we have a multiple array of solutions available with us to conduct online classes. Either it can be live classes or it can be a recorded class that is getting streamed later on for students to maybe access it further in the future as well. There are multiple solutions which allow collaboration through whiteboarding There can be interactive quizzes that can be done, interactive assessments that can be done, on the spot assessment quizzes, everything that is available. Online examination is available. We have a very good solution available with us, which allows you to conduct mock exams, proper mid-yearly exams, final exams, everything is possible. These can be proctored solutions, these can be open books examinations. Any sort of examination requirement that you have, you can reach out to us. As I mentioned earlier, these are some of the latest technologies which are available on cloud, which the students can gain access to. It can be IoT, big data, quantum technology. We have created a quantum lab along with NASCOM, which is accessible to general public. You guys can benefit from that. We have blockchain available, game tech available, and another important, I think, some in the latest uh, you know, currently the generation that is there, they are looking at content in AR, that is augmented reality and virtual reality. We have solution providers who are providing content in AR and VR capability, so that you can actually benefit from the practical learning process as well. Okay, these are some of the education programs that AWS is directly providing, which a university or a college can benefit from. AWS Academy is one of the programs. It is the most popular program that is available, which any university can benefit from. We have a curriculum which is being developed and maintained by AWS. It is obviously a curriculum which is cloud specific, but it can be merged with the existing curriculum that you guys have, and students can learn about cloud computing. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you would remember, the skilling gap is so big that we don't have people to employ. Second is, we have the program which is completely aligned. So this academy program is completely aligned with the AWS certification examination. So anyone who later on wants to take a AWS examination for certificate, like a solution architect examination, he can benefit from this course. And lastly, we are creating a generation which is actually employable and are ready to be employed by organizations, big organizations. AWS Educate is another program. It is a free of cost program available for anyone, anywhere to use. Earlier, this program was only restricted to the universities, but now it is completely open for everyone. Anyone can benefit from this program. It has the courses, it has the practical labs available with it. Everything is available. And the best part is that we have a AWS Educate job board along with this. So while you go through the courses, you go through the whole process of learning and assessments and giving examinations, the certification examinations, you guys can also apply for jobs which are available on the AWS Educate job board. So lot of partners or multiple vendors who are looking for cloud skilled workforce are posting their jobs on this job board, and multiple students are getting placed through this job board. Very recently we conducted a job fair, physical job fair, first physical job fair after pandemic in Hyderabad, and we had tremendous response over there. I don't have the data with me, but I think more than hundreds of people got placed. Uh, Again, this is all part of the education programs that we have. We have curriculum, we have courses, we have content which is cloud specific content, but can be tailored to any curriculum that you guys have, and you can immediately and accordingly manage it. I think I'm already running out of time, but very quickly I'll cover the last few slides. We have the AWS Skill Builder. It's a portal which has a lot of free content available in order for you to learn about AWS or cloud computing, learn about new technologies. There are paid trainings also available. There are free trainings also available. So based on your appetite, you can either go for free trainings and maybe later on migrate to paid trainings as well. The content can be digitally available, and you can sign up for physical in-classroom sessions also. This is the last program that we have, which is the AWS Cloud Quest. This is the gamified version of how we want to teach cloud to people, or how students can actually learn cloud while playing a game. It is a super cool game wherein it's a open world. You take on a role and then you do multiple missions and learn about cloud. So finally, this is the final program or offering that we have from AWS perspective, which is the AWS Campus. This is a program which allows digitization of a university or a college so that they can create workforce which is industry 4.0 ready. In terms of benefit, you get a proper AWS developed curriculum for cloud. You have regular updates on those courses. You have hands-on practical labs available. And also for people who want to go into certification or who want to take examinations, there are multiple discounts available from AWS perspective. So this is all which I had today from my side to share with you. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity and thanks for going through the slides. Yeah, Clevina, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pranav. That was indeed informative. I'm sure our participating audience has have taken a great key takeaways from this session. And now it's time for me to move ahead and invite our next speaker, Mr. Vikas Goel, Vice President from Cloud4C. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikas, for joining us. Over to you.
Thanks, Glevina. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, once again. And thank you, Pawan sir and Pranav, for sharing deep insights on how AWS and EdCIL are transforming the education sector. I hope that was good enough to keep the participants awake in the post-lunch session, right? And now what we're going to talk about is how Cloud4C taking the advantage of EdCIL as well as AWS platform, how we are helping our customers to take the cloud journey, right? I'll start with the slide, which Pawan sir has already shown, right? But if you look deep into it, analyze it, then you will see all the use cases that are touching your day-to-day life, and all of them have their different complexity, and together it becomes a very complex world from the education sector perspective, right? So complexity is one problem that we have to solve, right? Picking up one of the quote from Shakespeare, right? We don't know what we may be, right? And uncertainty is the word, right? And we have seen how uncertain times were there during the pandemic, correct, right? So in any cloud transformation journey or digital transformation journey, right, there are multiple uncertainties, right, that we need to solve. So to solve the complexity as well the uncertainty in the journey, right, you need a partner who has experiences all, and that's where Cloud4C becomes relevant for you. So as Cloud4C, if you see, we have been helping customers in multiple sectors, taking their pretty complex and critical workloads to the cloud journey, whether it is from strategizing the migration, migrating the workloads, managing it on cloud in a low cost, high speed, and a very minimal risk process, right? And we are proud to say that out of 2 of 3 of the top 5 organizations, right, whether it is in banking sector, it is in media, right, you name a sector, and we are helping them to run their mission critical environments on cloud. Cloud4C is a multi-cloud application focused managed services, where AWS being the largest platform that we serve on, right? And we also have our community cloud, which is Cloud4C, which gives us in-depth knowledge and technical ability to understand how a cloud works, right? How to manage and run a cloud infrastructure, right? And we're very proud to say that we are one of the largest SAP partner, right, with more than 500 SAP installations that we are supporting, right, from implementation to upgrade to manage on cloud, right, as well as supporting the SAP infrastructure there. Plus, we have more than 250 SAP hack customers that are live, right? So that brings us very unique proposition from SAP perspective. I know from education sector, SAP might not be that relevant, but the complexity that SAP brings in you can understand our capability from that perspective, that how complex workload that we are handling, right? Over a period of time, we have built multiple solutions in various industries, like bank in a box for banking industry, insurance industry, healthcare in a box. And we also work with multiple ISVs to bring point solution, right? The solution that Pranav talked about in AWS, right? We work with multiple ISVs to bring those solutions to you and manage the cloud infrastructure for you. We are a global company, right? With presence in 26 countries with 52 locations. And the benefit that we bring in to all your global aspiration in terms of moving from local to global, we can support. So for example, there are new use cases that are coming in the market. For example, the student exchange program or opening a learning center abroad, right? We can be your partner to do that. No other company provide a single SLA at the application login level, and we do provide that, right? So these are some of the highlights of our capabilities, right? And we will go deep into the services that we provide. So these are the locations. So if any of the global location, I mean, most of the countries are covered. So we will be more than happy to work with you to take your business, to take your institutes to these locations. We have 450 plus, more than 450 certified AWS experts, which are helping more than 100 enterprises. And we have all the relevant credentials, right? If you see, which bring us the best practices and the best architecture that we can deploy in AWS, right? Moving on to next slide, right? So we are end-to-end managed service provider, application managed service provider, right from when you start planning for how to move to cloud, whether it is doing a discovery, assessment, planning for migration, migrating your workload, modernizing, whether it's application, whether it's database, data analytics platforms, right? Doing serverless application and end-to-end managed services. I want to specifically stress upon the security. We have dedicated security operations center, which is running 24/7, and we help you in monitoring and managing your security. Preventive monitoring is the key, right? So before the threat happens, we can anticipate and help you prevent that threat, right? We also provide compliance as a service, right? And there's some of the services which are not mentioned, like for example, disaster recovery, backup as a service, right? Those are some of our forte that we provide solutions to our customer. We have developed our own in-house solution, which is SHOP, which is self-healing operations platform, right? And it's an AI-based platform, which helps you to predict and prevent the incident before it is happening. And once, even if the incident has happened, it will help you to automate, log a ticket, and do a remediation action, right? One important factor when you look at cloud is continuous optimization, right? No cloud can be cost effective unless you are constantly optimizing it at a periodic basis or in a predictable and proactive basis, right? That's where SHOP comes into picture and helps you do that to minimize your cost, right? And improve the efficiency on cloud platform. And we can talk about, and in follow-up calls, we can talk about any of the services that you are interested in. So Pranav talks about multiple use cases that are there in education sector. I will not take much time here, right? But these are some of the areas that we can talk and we can discuss, right? And help you to implement one for your institute or college. We have been working with multiple customers, as I mentioned, that all 2 or 3 of the top 5 customers, right, in every sector, right? And this is the data that is coming out based on our experience that we have had with those customers, right? So we commit what we have experienced and what we can factually get as a business value to you in your implementation, whether it is reduction in cost, improving the efficiency, ensuring the uptime, right, or automation to the maximum extent, right? So these are some of the things that add to the overall preparation of the cloud journey that you can have with us as Cloud4C, right? So these are some of the things that I want to highlight about the Cloud4C, and together with EdCIL and AWS, right, we will make sure that your journey is seamless, smooth, cost-effective, and efficient. Thank you, Glenda. I think this is all what we have for today's session.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikas, for sharing your valuable insights. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we've got quite a few questions. The first question is asked by Mr. Rupendra Chaurasia. And the question is as follows. What is the process to leverage EdCIL procurement process? We would love Mr. Pavan to answer this one.
As we said that EdCIL is a 100% owned under Ministry of Education. And the process is very simple. As per GFR 2017 guidelines, EdCIL is the only consultancy organization in the Ministry of Education. So you can immediately use the GFR Rule 198 to have the agreements in place with EdCILs to provide this complete turnkey cloud services through us. And that is the first step, and that's what we can sign an MOU with you. The benefit that comes to you as an out-of-box benefit from EdCIL is that we have already leveraged the rate contract with Cloud4C and AWS and other similar partners in the cloud space, which are mighty empaneled. So what we can immediately roll out after doing the consultancy studies, we can roll out those services in 15 days. And that's what we can offer from the contracting position, where you take your own sweet time of 6 months while tendering, evaluation, and awarding the contract to the vendors. So the whole complicated process is being shortened by EdCIL. And being a consultancy organization, we can take these projects under turnkey consultancy services for you. That's the answer from my side. I hope that is clear to the participants. Yes. If you have any further clarifications, I'll be happy to answer that also.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Pavan, for patiently answering that question. The next question is for Mr. Pranav, and the question is there an AWS behind the scenes in cloud services?
Okay, I'm a little confused with the question. See, AWS is one of the global cloud service providers. We are mighty empaneled and STQC audited in India. We, as you must have seen by the logo slide, we have many number of customers available in India. So yes, we are present in the cloud domain. I hope my understanding was correct of the question, because I was a little confused, but if there is any follow-up on that, please let me know.
Yeah, I think you've pretty much answered the question. So thank you so much. All right, we have another question. We hear that cloud migration increases cost for your IT. How do you see it?
Yeah, we have been hearing it from multiple of our customers, right? That if you migrate to cloud, it will increase cost, right? So, but we have to look at from two perspectives. What is cloud migration all about? You are taking a next leap in your digital transformation journey, right? And for that, unless you do a right assessment, a right architecture, right, it will always give you a higher cost. So there are two phases to it. One is you have to do assessment, find the right sizes of your infrastructure that you are going to migrate. That is one that will definitely help you save cost. Second is obviously build your architecture which is auto scalable. Auto scalability is the feature that you can leverage on cloud, which is not available in the traditional infrastructure domain, right? That is second thing. Third phase of it, where you get the maximum benefit, is when you start using the cloud native services, because they are meant for scalability, they're meant for agility, they're meant for cost saving, right? So I would put it as a 3-phase journey that you need to take, right, for any cloud formation project, to ensure that you are improving the efficiency, lowering the cost, and having the right things in place for your digital transformation.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikas, for answering that. Well, we have one more question from our participating audience, Krishna Gandhi, and this question is directed to Mr. Pranav. With your experience in the field, I would like to know what sells from the point of view of LMS. What kind of pedagogy would you suggest from learner-centered approach?
So that's an interesting question. See, with my experience in the market, There is no one specific solution which sells more than the other. We have seen the likes of Moodles, the Blackboards of the worlds being used by multiple universities. But if you were to ask me to choose one, I have actually definitely seen a huge uptake in the consumption or adoption of Moodle as an LMS platform. It is a good platform to begin with for beginners, and there are, but again, as I told you, depending on the requirement that your university has, depending on the model that you want to create for learning environment for your campus, you can choose many other solutions that are available in the market. These are all plug and play solutions which a learner or a faculty or a trainer can actually utilize. Multiple solutions are available at your disposal in order for you to provide the right platform for your students to learn. So I hope I did answer that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Pranav. We have one more question from the same person. How do you address the complexity in a cloud journey?
So cloud journey could be very complex if not rightly planned, right? So I think, and it's a great question. Thanks for asking that. So basically, we have to look at the vision why you are actually planning to move to cloud, right? There has to be a credible reason for that. And once you have that reason, you need to plan around the overall strategy for the end-to-end journey of your cloud migration. And don't take piecemeal approach. If you take a piecemeal approach, I mean, for example, today I just want to migrate few of the application, a few of the workloads, right? Tomorrow I want to migrate some other workloads, right? Obviously, you'll get into much more complex scenarios, right? To address that, I think we have to envisage the end-to-end journey and then plan it out and then have an architecture which can scale to meet those requirements of cloud migration. So that is, I think, one way we can reduce the cloud complexity and obviously save cost and then have better benefits of cloud. And Pranav, if you want to add anything on that.
I mean, thanks for the inputs, Vikas. I just one or two points that I have to add over here. First is, see, cloud journey can be complex, but in my experience that I have seen in over 5 years, depending on the approach that you take, the right set of people that you're involving to gather your requirements, it can be a very easy process on how you plan your cloud journey. There are multiple ways in which you can migrate to cloud or start your journey with cloud. We need to select which is the best approach based on the experience that we have with our solution architects available, with the right advice that we give to you. Second important thing is, see, a most important factor in starting the cloud journey is change management. Uh, Getting people to understand and adopting cloud is very important. If you have the right people who support you, if you have the right people who understand what benefit the cloud journey will bring to your organization, I think the whole process after that is very simple. And as Pawan sir rightly mentioned in the beginning, the first question that was addressed to him, the process in terms of procuring cloud. See, it is not just the fact that if you have a tender process in place, you should avoid that and go for EdCIL. Even if you don't have any tender process, I would still urge people to go to EdCIL and start procuring cloud from there because of the various benefits that were mentioned in his slides, because it eases your procurement process altogether. Because EdCIL being a government entity, the process and the trust factor is always there. Second fact, there are multiple other benefits like pricing benefits and the fact that it's an open forum in terms of pricing, right? HCL has already negotiated a rate contract with multiple service providers. So you get the best of both the worlds in terms of procurement and the pricing. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav. So what I understand is you can customize it according to the needs of the client, and make a process which will deem fit for them and their organization.
Yep.
So
Yes.
thank you so much for answering that, and also thank you so much, Mr. Vikas, for sharing your inputs. We have one more question. Either of you could take it up. We are already on cloud. How can we better ourselves, or what would be the roadmap from here?
Right, and again, so I'll take it up and then Pranab, you can add, right? So again, a very good question. So a lot of people, and as I think it was there in the first poll itself, a lot of people are there on cloud, right? So the getting on the cloud is first phase, I would put it that way, right? But during the first phase of migration, I think most of the people, what they choose is lift and shift, right? But there are a lot of services which are available, for example, from AWS cloud, like native databases or cloud scale databases, right? There are functions, services like Lambda, right? Which can give you the further scalability and advantage of using cloud, right? So I think the next journey, and where Cloud4C along with AWS can help you, is to transform your entire application landscape to a cloud native of using PaaS services, which will help, again, the same thing, scalability, agility, and cost.
I think you have summed it up beautifully, but just to add one or two more points, I mean, as I showed in one of my slides, if you remember, that in terms of the new technologies, you have access to the new technologies, right? So depending on at what stage your cloud journey is on right now, if you're using like legacy applications on cloud, you can modernize your applications, you can create cloud native applications to increase the performance and efficiency. You can start using multiple AI/ML services. You can start using IoT services. You can start using analytics services to provide you and give you more value added inputs in terms of how your universities or your students are performing. You can have that AI/ML capability inbuilt. So yes, there are a host of multiple new services which can actually give value add to your current infrastructure and your platform. Thank you.
One more input, Alvina. I wanted to give you, if people are on the cloud, then there are, I mean, EdCIL as being a consultant, besides the benefits which Pranav and Vikas have shared, you see, the government institutions generally have a challenge. They don't know on demand, on the go services. So what EdCIL does, they have a continuous monitoring process where they optimize their cost by having a pool of people who continuously monitors, and they can give these services as a value added services, so that the overall cost, so because the people in government pay as you go, they subscribe to these services, and they don't understand that when to augment the services, when to decrease it. So they just take those services, and they don't know how to optimize this, because the whole benefit of cloud is that only is to optimize your services. That's why they will get economics of scale. And here what EdCIL will come as their enablers or as a service provider for those government institutions, where they can optimize their cost. Besides the value added services, what Vikas and Pranav has told, so that they get both of the world, optimizing the cost and plus their journey in terms of maximizing the reach to the end users. That's the way we can add the value to the people who are already on the cloud.
Absolutely, very well said, Mr. Pavan. Thank you so much for adding that, because I think a lot of people are new to this entire cloud journey and they are not quite sure on how to optimize the features and the value addition services that they are taking. So thank you so much for adding that point. And the next question is directed towards you from one of our participating audience. Her name is Dimple Patel, who says, I would like to know what kind of cloud services can be provided by EdCIL in order to host digital libraries to support e-learning.
Okay, so they already have the e-libraries or library content with them, or they want you to host and utilize our services with them. So if they have the content and digital libraries already with them, so probably what they require is a cloud platform services from EdCIL. So basically it will be a compute plus storage. Those services can be we can first study their requirement and then understand what they require from the cloud perspective. And based on that, we can give a comprehensive solution to them, that this is the way they can take their digital library solutions through the cloud services and maximize their reach. And this will depend on a lot of factors based on what are the content they want to host in the storage spaces, plus their outreach to the end user. So it is like a complete comprehensive solution which we have to build in for them, and it requires interaction with the team. So EdCIL is into that space. EdCIL can give a solution, and as rightly told by Mr. Vikas, we can provide a proof of concept as an offering to them, and that's the free of cost. And if they give the consent, we'll be take up as one of the participant who has joined in the webinar as this as a one of the, I mean, proof of concept free offering for 1 month as a solution proposition to them.
Perfect. So Dimple mentions that they will be uploading their own content, and she has an additional question to the previously asked question. Are EdCIL and or AWS services available via the GEM portal?
Yes, very much. EdCIL and AWS services are available on GEM. We are also a seller in GEM. So we can offer the services through that method also to any government organization. That's the answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Pawan, for answering that and giving us an assurance on that. We have one more question. How will Sky Computing impact the education segment, multi-cloud and education sector? This question is asked by Mr. Prasanna. I repeat the question. How will Sky Computing impact the education segment, multi-cloud in education sector?
See, with the cloud computing, there are multiple, as you rightly mentioned, there are multiple cloud service providers available in the market. It is going to only positively impact the education domain, as we now realize with the fact that we're still going through the pandemic. We're trying to come out of it in a positive way. We have seen the impact that it has brought onto the education sector. We All the universities or campuses are trying to adopt digital approach to their learning, and also the fact that with the national and new education policy coming into picture, with ODL coming into picture, that is the distance learning, which is a big program, and licenses are available with few of the institutes. It is going to heavily impact the way students are consuming content, the students are learning, the way faculties are actually trying to teach students. Another important aspect, which I also mentioned in one of my slides, was how students can actually get to practically work on their practical courses. The fact that we are providing labs is a whole different concept. Another important fact that HPC, that is the high performance computing for research institutes, is a readily available solution with AWS. So we are not impacting just one aspect of a student life cycle. We are impacting the entire journey that a student goes through, right from the admission process till the time they get their degree, and even after that, the fact that they become an alumni for the university, how the alumni network can be created, what they can, in what ways they can help the university, and also the fact that with multiple programs that we have available like Academy, Educate, which allows students to also get skilled for the jobs that are available in the market and on the Educate portal. So while you are also technologically getting associated with EdCIL, AWS, and Cloud4C, the fact that we are also helping you skill your students for the next journey in their life cycle, which is to get jobs, is an important aspect and impact that we are creating. One of the mottos that AWS has is, our job is to basically impact every life of citizen of India in a positive way through technology. And by partnering with EdCIL and Cloud4C, we hope to at least impact all the lives of our students who are associated with us. I hope I've been able to answer that. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Pranav. The person who asked the question has also mentioned what he meant by Sky Computing. His point of view was migrating from AWS to GCI or Azure, etc. So I think it's pretty much.
Let me, Albina, let me come into this. I mean,
Yes,
that's a
you can
good
take it
question
forward.
asked by Prasanna. I mean, that's a good question asked by Prasanna, because we, I mean, basically he wanted to utilize the various cloud service provider services simultaneously. That's what he's referring to sky computing. And as an organization, EdCIL has got agreements in place with various cloud service providers. That's what we offer because of this integrated mix with EdCIL can offer AWS or even the other partners they have mentioned in their question. So we can offer the sky computing services immediately if somebody has a need of this, and that because of our agreements in place, and we can utilize both of the words which are there in the market, because there are certain advantages with AWS, there are certain advantages with other service providers. So we can, as a service provider from the EdCIL, can bring both of the words to Mr. Prasanna or any other person who wants to work with EdCIL.
Thank
So
you
that's
so
a
much,
specific
Mr.
answer
Pawan.
to this query.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pawan, for answering that question. I'm sure Mr. Prasanna is satisfied with your response. Before we come to the close of this event, I'd like to invite Mr. Vikas Goel once again to propose a vote of thanks.
Right. Thank you, Glevna. So, and on behalf of Cloud4C, I would like to thank all the participants to sparing their valuable time and joining this webinar, right? And I hope they got enough insights and then value add that we are going to bring together with EdCIL, AWS and Cloud4C as a consortium to help them in their cloud journey, right? I hope that will help them. And thank you very much, Pawan sir and Pranav, for sharing your thoughts and views about the education sector and how cloud is impacting the education sector. Also, I would like to thank DNB for arranging this webinar for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to our speakers. With this, we finally take your leave. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Take care and stay safe.